everyone. So this is part 3. We are still at the Rhode Island Author Expo. We'll be here all day. It's an absolutely amazing event. If you haven't gone, it's definitely worth checking out. RIAuthorExpo.com. It's all the information's there. If you want to be a part of the event, if you want to come down and check it out, it's a lot of fun. And now I am talking to my next guest, C.B. Giesinger. She is a travel blogger and novelist. Well, welcome to the show, first off.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. Now, we're going to talk about, of course, we're going to talk all about your books. But I want to first ask about travel blogging.
Okay.
Because you are living my, dream life. How'd you get into doing this, and where have you been?
Primarily we've been to the UK. We've been to Scotland twice, England twice. We've been to Switzerland. I love writing up itineraries to places I've never even been. I dream up where I want to go, and then I find the destinations that I want to visit, the museums, the restaurants, and I will plan it down to the day, and I'll write up day 1, day 2, day 3, and if someone says, hey, I want to go somewhere, I'll go and research that for you.
Sure,
I'll go look into it, because I think a lot of people get very, ooh, I don't want to go outside the country. It's
so
too
daunting,
much.
Yeah.
But no, I come back and I will write up blogs that have clickable links. So you can literally go and check out the menu at the restaurant I ate at.
Ooh.
You can go and see the hotel. You can see the prices that they have. I'll send you routing maps. They have live videos sometimes at different places that you go to. So I want to take people with me. So even if you're scared to go on a plane and don't want to cross the sea, you can see everywhere I've been, and you'll be immersed in it like I am.
So you must be really good at finding the unknown places, like the hole-in-the-wall restaurants, the unknown coffee shops.
Yeah. I don't like traditional anything.
No, I don't like that either. I like to go to the places that no one else knows about, so I can say, hey, when you're here, down this road, bang a left, check this place out, you're gonna love it.
Yes. Yep. Local pubs are the best.
Yes.
Little inns. And that's why we really like the UK, because you can go into small towns, and we stayed actually in Dorset, in the Jurassic Coast, and we just spent the entire day finding little fossils in the sand. Well, we dug them out of the clay, and they're 12 million year old ammonites, and we just took home buckets of rock, essentially, now, because they're no longer alive, but it was amazing, and I said, we need to find a good restaurant, and we found a train that they converted. It was an 1800 train that they converted into a restaurant, and they built tracks just to put the train restaurant on, and the train station was the kitchen. It was the most incredible experience, but you would never even know about it unless you visited this little town. But it's you have to go and experience the world, because otherwise you don't know that it's there.
I love to travel personally. I love travel just domestically, internationally. I feel like you gotta explore this world. You gotta get out there and see the whole thing.
Yes.
That's why it's there, to be seen.
Yep.
Any places that are on your soon-to-be visited list, or on your bucket list?
Well, Austria is next year.
Nice.
We're gonna do the entire country. That's what we like to do. We spend 2 weeks and we do the entire outline of every country we go to. We make sure that we, get a live Mozart concert, because they do 2,000 performances a year. We got to see all the castles. I love castles.
You got to see the castles.
We actually did an entire trip planned for France. And of course, we had to cancel the entire thing when 2020 happened.
Right, yeah.
I cried.
I'm sure you
because I
did.
was so upset, because I had restaurants booked, and I had restaurants booked in Paris.
No.
And I had to cancel everything. They were not cool.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, but no, we really want to go to the Netherlands. My son's graduating next year. Sorry, not next year, 2026. And my dad's always wanted to go on a cruise with us. So I'm going to be leaving out of Southampton with my family, and we're going to go up the coast of Europe together on a cruise, which is going to be amazing. To be with my sister and her husband and her daughter and my parents and my kids.
That's amazing. Germany is on my list to visit.
Yes.
I want to go there so badly.
Yes.
That and Japan.
My parents just came back from Japan.
No kidding.
Yep, they went to Singapore.
Okay.
And because their friends live in Singapore, and from there they went to Hong Kong, they went to Taiwan, and then they went and stayed in Japan in Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo.
Okay then.
They spent 6 weeks out, and yeah, my parents are in their 70s, and they're just amazing.
Were they like inspiring to you when it came to like travel? Did they kind of like push you to say,
I'm
get
gonna
out there
write a
and see
book
the world?
about them for sure.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have to.
like, cause everyone assumes, oh, I'm retired. I just gotta go local. I'm gonna go down
Nope.
to the Carolinas, and my
Japan.
parents are like, no, we're gonna go 26 hours on a plane.
Yeah.
Constantly, they took 8 flights in 6 weeks,
Jeez.
and they walk 10 miles a day. They're just they're very inspiring.
Your parents are badasses.
They really are.
That is
and
so cool.
very, very daring.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, they're very fun, and my mom's actually here. She's my best salesman. She always the first one to read all my books.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm very, very proud of her.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of books,
Yeah.
you got them here. You have your most recent one, where the saltwater ends, and we got this right here for you folks. You can check the awesome cover. This is a dark book.
Yeah.
This is a dark book. This is set in 1900 in Smithfield, here in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
You have your main character, Trudy, whose 2-year-old son, Edgar, goes missing.
Yep.
And all she finds is a piece of clothing from the kidnapper. And years later, more kids are going missing, and Trudy's going to she wants to do something. She wants to investigate this thing, find the truth, and boy, does that go badly.
Oh, it does.
What inspired this book?
Well, we own the mill building that is on the Winnebago River.
Yep.
And we bought it. It's an 1800 mill building. And I said, okay, I need to know what Winnebago means. And it means where the saltwater ends. So I was like, well, that's a book title.
Right, come on.
And I said, okay, well, I want to write something that's meaningful. And my books generally deal with loss. So my first book was about loss of yourself and finding yourself again. The second is loss of family and connection to who you are and where you came from. And this one is losing a child. And I mean, they're all detrimental, but
Yeah.
I wanted to do something that was a very different genre. I read a lot of crime thrillers, and so I said, well, I'm going to do one about children being kidnapped, because I thought that that would be interesting, but I wanted it to have like a fun flair, because in the early 1900s, they always had fun names for people. So I was like, ooh, Knick Knack Jack, because he nicks the children and then he leaves a knack. And then I made a little nursery rhyme in the book that children sing while they're like jump roping about Knick Knack Jack.
Oh, that's terrifying.
It's so creepy. Like I could hear it in my head, and I'm like, that's terrifying. But it's haunting her so much because the children are not just being taken, but there's a lot of evil going on in the city and in the government, and the people who you trust to help you are actually the villains. And it's closer to home than you think.
Oh my God.
So it's terrifying because you just think about it. Like the worst thing in the world is losing your child,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
Well, it could get worse.
Fantastic. All
Yeah.
right. So let's talk about Trudy as the investigator.
Yeah.
How does she do this? Like, does she just like dive right in? Is she totally like overwhelmed? Like, how does she kind of fill this role?
Well, so she wanted to make more money. Working at a dye house, she didn't make a lot. So she's like, well, what I'll do is I'll take a typing course. Then she got a job at City Hall. Then she got a job with a lawyer. The lawyer put her up for a job with the governor. Now she's got the ear of the governor. Now she's listening in on conversations he's having with people in the office because she wants to know what they're doing to find all of these children. And nothing happens until, this is going to be a little bit of a clue, the governor's child gets taken. Suddenly people care. You know?
I wonder why.
I wonder why.
Weird.
So she starts looking into the families and for trying to find connections, because that's what good investigators do. They look at the clues and they try to connect the dots. And so she's connecting the dots, and she's finding out she doesn't like what she's learning. And it was a tough journey for me, but I love it because I got to describe Victorian homes and dressing and how some people have the outward appearances of keeping up with the Joneses, but then you go into their house and they're very frumpy and antiquated, and they're not what they seem. And that's the problem. I think the whole book is people who are truthful and people who are deceitful, and finding out who's who.
I get you.
Yeah.
Now, you're a parent too.
Yeah.
How did that influence the writing? Because obviously you can kind of put like a lot of yourself into the story.
Yeah. So my cousin actually lost her son. He passed away the year that I wrote this, and I really wanted to dive into, like, I can't imagine any of that, and it was emotional for everybody to go through that, and I wanted to pay homage to, like, parents, and when they're going through the worst days of their life, how strong they are, and I was so proud of the strength that she had as a mother to every day get up and go to work and fight for her kid, and I dedicated the book to him. So I wanted it to be something special for that, and coming as a parent, you hold your kids close.
Of course.
You know, and this kid was taken right from her hand. Like, it's so easily, and every day you go on Facebook and you see a new missing kid.
Yeah.
There's so many kids that are missing from either mental health or abuse in the family, or they're just running away because maybe they don't have enough support at home. So there's a lot of that going on, but there's also hope.
Thank you for that, at least.
Yes, there's always hope, and there's always goodness, and I think Trudy represents that.
Good.
And I like strong female voices. All of my books have strong female voices.
Okay, I wanted to ask about that because you mentioned earlier that loss is a theme in each of your books.
Yeah.
And now you get the strong female voice in each of the books. How does this become like a recurring theme for you?
I'm a feminist, but I'm also I'm a pragmatist. So I understand that the world is the way that it is, and it's not going to change overnight. But I want to give representation, and I want to represent myself, and I want to have a voice. And I've not been able to go into, like, a regular job for the last 10 years because I lost function of my right arm due to a nerve injury that's permanent, unfortunately. But I felt very isolated, and I felt like I wasn't represented as anything. Like, you go up to somebody and you say, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm a podcaster. I interview people. I'm a journalist. And people would ask me, and I felt like I didn't have a purpose. Like I didn't have a title, so I felt unheard, unnoticed, and I think a lot of that went into my books, like rediscovering myself in my first book, rediscovering my family, rediscovering what loss is and how important things are, and how lucky we are when we have our children and have our families. So,
How do you go about crafting your characters? And how do you, like, make them strong without making them, like, too strong?
Well,
Because I imagine you don't want them so capable that they can just, like, boom, like, solve a problem just like that.
I think a lot of my characters are inspired by people that I actually know. I mean, Origins of Edith is loosely based on my mom's family, her and her 3 sisters, and growing up in a family that doesn't have as much, and not knowing anything about their mother or why she is the way that she is. And some parents, I feel, are more emotional, and they hug you and they tell you they're proud of you, and I get that, but, like, growing up in older ages, parents were not emotional. Parents didn't talk about things going on, emotional abuse or drug addiction or mental health. And that was a big thing that people lost connection to. And I really wanted to connect to people that I actually knew and give them a voice. And What Comes of Ashes, I actually wrote because I had a dream that one of my friends went on a trip and she died in a car accident. And I felt really bad that I hadn't talked to her in 5 years. And I was like, imagine if that happened. Imagine if somebody that you knew died and you were too busy living your life to even know what happened until it was too late. And you're like, oh my God, I missed out on all these years we could have had together. And, like, how do I rectify that? And so in What Comes of Ashes, her friend rectifies it by building an itinerary. And she tells her to carry her ashes on a trip they never took together because their lives got too busy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this is me, and I didn't realize it was about me until, like, I don't know, 5 months ago. because I went through therapy myself, and I found out that a lot of my writing is me speaking
Sure.
out and sharing inner truths, and sometimes you don't realize it until the book's done, because I write like this. It's a movie just rolling in my head, and I don't read the book until it's done. So I have no idea what I'm writing about. And I go back and I go,
pantser,
ooh.
then. You're just gonna go with a seat of pants.
Oh yeah, no, I black out essentially until my computer dies, and then I go, oh, all right, well I'm done. But then I start up again, next chapter, and I just keep going because it's a movie reel. It's already been written.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just comes out that way. I don't write things out or organize them. The characters just come to me. The titles come to me first, and then the books come with them.
Where did the cover for Saltwater come from? Because this is creepy.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
So
I love
if you
it.
open it up, actually, it's the full length, but it looks like an eye watching you.
Oh, jeez.
And that's why I really wanted it to do that, because it's ominous. I wanted it to be something creepy because she feels like Knick-Knack Jack is watching her, and she starts seeing like him in corners of places. She goes to find a peaceful spot and she smells a cigar burning. She hears click, clack, click, clack. And it's Knick-Knack Jack. He's back, he's back. It's that song that these kids wrote for her. And so she hears it and she's like haunted by it. It's very eerie, but it's in a very Charles Dickens sort of way with Ghosts of Marley.
So that makes it okay,
Oh,
right?
I love Dickens. He's great. He just, when you hear like swoot, you know, I wanted that eerie thing, mist flowing into the park kind of scene. I want you to smell things. I want you to be able to feel things. I want you to see the rough spots in the wood grains of the floor. I love people to be immersed in stories like I am. I want you to see what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so the big question, of course, is what is next for you?
I have a book coming out next year.
Excellent. What's it all about?
It's The Wall That Divides the Ocean, and it's about a woman who is married. She's years into her marriage, and she has a dream about this man that she had a relationship with years ago, and she gets in a car accident. And when she wakes up, she's 10 years into that marriage with that guy. And nothing is out of the ordinary. She's not like, oh, where am I? She's living this life as though it's totally normal. And she's in a coma. So her husband is going through all of this pain and torture of, will my wife wake up? And blaming himself. And the entirety of her coma, he's going through things, and she's living this other life in Scotland with this person that she dreams about, essentially. And it's all going to come to a head when you're going to have to realize whether it's real or not, and whether or not you want to go back. And I mean, I love Outlander, so it had a really strong vibe to that, but I wanted it to be like, a lot of people, they're in marriages, and maybe the marriage isn't perfect. Maybe, after 20 years, maybe it feels dull or boring, and maybe you're like, well, what if I went another way? What if my life turned out this way? And it kind of like, what you can dream whatever you want. It's a dream. It's not maybe realistic. But I loved it because I got to go back to Scotland, where my husband and I have gone now twice. Just this past summer with the kids, and I'm going to do a travel blog on it coming up soon. And then it takes place in Rhode Island. So I get a little bit of both worlds, which is essentially my life. Like, I'm either here or I'm in the UK. So
not a bad life.
It's a
I
little
like that.
dream for me,
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's coming up next year.
Excellent. Well, folks, you've heard everything you need to hear now.
Yep.
Now, here's what you're going to do. You want to go to GiesingerPublishing.com. Link will be in the description. Check it out. Get yourself a copy of all the books. Check out the travel blog, and maybe you'll go somewhere and see all the places that she's written about. CB, thank you for joining me. I appreciate this.
Thank you so much. It was so nice talking with you. Thank you, everyone.